Okay, number 2, it says y equals x squared minus 36. Again, we need to analyze. A is always b with x squared, so that will be 1. B is always with x, but we don't have x in here, so that means that is 0. And C is always the constant number, meaning it has no variable, so negative 36. For the vertex, which we will put right in the middle, for the vertex, the formula is x is equal to negative b all over 2a. So that's for my vertex. And so I'm going to replace negative and then put the b, which is 0, over 2 times a, which is 1. And negative 0 is just 0. 0 is not positive, it's not negative, it's neutral. And 2 times 1 is 2. And 0 divided by any number is always 0. So that's the vertex for x. We have 0. And to find y, we replace that value into x. So it's going to be 0 squared minus 36. 0 squared is just 0 minus 36. We end up with negative 36. So that's the value of y. For the values of x, this is easier because in number 1 we had a decimal, if you remember. But in here, and again, if you need to see that, you can look at the previous video. I'm sorry that it cut off. So in here, what we're going to do is add 1, add 1. So 0 plus 1, 1. 1 plus 1, 2. Or you can just draw the number line and put the 0. The next numbers are 1 and 2. And on the other side is negative 1 and negative 2. So those are the ones that you would put here. Negative 1, negative 2. And now we are able to replace those values in x and start doing the same thing that we did here for the vertex, we do for the other 2 points. So y is equals to x squared. We start with 2 squared minus 36. Y equals 2 squared means 2 times 2. So that's 4 minus 36. And 4 minus 36 is negative 32. So that's the value for 2. When the x is 2, then y is negative 32. Also remember from the previous video, or the example 1, is that these should look the same and this should also look the same because we chose symmetrical points. So if this is the vertex, we chose 2 points to either side, right next to the vertex x. One more thing, we remember that when a is greater than 0, meaning positive numbers, the graph will open up, and when a is less than 0, the graph will open down. When a is less than 0, that means negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, etc. Okay, on the negatives. So if a is negative, it goes down, it opens down. If a is positive, it opens up. So you can already guess by looking at this first value if my graph will open up or down. Okay, number 1, y is equals to 1 squared minus 36. 1 squared means 1 times 1, which is 1, minus 36. And 1 minus 36 is negative 35. Negative 35 goes there. Then negative 1. Y equals negative 1. Because it's negative, we're going to put it between parentheses so that we can raise the entire integer. So it will be negative 1 squared minus 36. And careful, because some people think that negative 1 squared, they will put negative 1. No, it's negative 1 times negative 1. Okay, negative 1 times negative 1, and negative times negative, it becomes positive. 1 times 1 is 1. Minus 36. And so 1 minus 36 is negative 35. If you notice, these two did come the same, okay? And the last one, we have y equals x squared, but the x is negative 2 squared minus 36. Negative 2 squared means negative 2 times negative 2, which is positive 4, minus 36. 4 minus 36 is negative 32. Remember that in different signs, this is positive, different signs, we subtract and leave the greater sign. So negative 32. Now we're able to do our graph. Although we analyze the numbers, well, on x, we only need 0, 1, and 2. And on the other side, -1, -2. But for the y, we need very low negatives. So I'm not going to draw all of that. I can do a sketch. So 0 in here, +1, +2, -1, negative. Could draw up to -36. 1, 2, 3, 4, very close. Or more or less, this can be 10, 20, 30, and then you can start putting those in here. -31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Okay, so -30, -20, -10, and that will be 0, more or less. And then we start graphing to -32. And you can start with the vertex, or you can start, in the last one we started with the vertex and then did the other ones. But if you're able to know that this is the vertex, and from that point, that's where you open your parabola to either side, then you should be fine doing any point, okay? So 2, -32. 2, -32 will be around here. 1, -35. 1, -35 is very close to my -36, more or less right there. 0, -36, which is my vertex. 0, -36 is right there. And then -1, -35, -1, -35, more or less right there. And then -2, -32, -2, -32, somewhere around there. So my parabola will look something like this. And you can even do -3 and +3 to see where the next point will be. This is going to be hard. So when it comes to analyzing these type of functions where we have difference of squares, it's a little easier because my vertex is at 0, 36. And you can find it in here, but also it's my y-intercept, because when x is 0, the number over here on y, that will be my y-intercept. So that will be my y-intercept. This will be my y-intercept just because the x is 0. And then we also know that the y-intercept is always the last number. So -36, -36, and -36, we can see that these are a match, okay? Graphs and tables and parabolas, and then you have to figure out which function goes with which table and with which graph. For number 3, you can see that the first coefficient, or the coefficient of x squared, is negative. That means that my parabola will open down. Okay, but let's check it out. So A is -1, B is -12, and C is -36. Again, the first thing that we want to find is the vertex. Why? Because we are going to put it here in the middle and then choose 2 points to the left and 2 points to the right. Because we're going to choose 2 points to the right and then 2 points to the left. And it doesn't matter if you switch these ones, that's okay, but as long as it's next to the vertex, okay? So x is equal to, oh, the song. X is equal to -b all over 2a. So negative from the formula, -12 from b, and 2 times -1. We know that negative and negative together make the big plus, okay? And so we put +12 divided by 2 times -1 is -2. And that gives me 12 divided by -2 is -6. In multiplication and division, remember that if they are the same signs, then the answer is positive. If they are different signs, like in this case, then the answer is negative. So that's for my vertex, that's the value of x. To find y for that vertex, we replace -6 in here and in here, but be careful. We have negative, and we have to put between parentheses this -6 because it's negative, squared, minus 12 times -6 minus 36. In here, just bring down this negative, okay? We cannot multiply that. Some people say negative times negative positive. No. According to PEMDAS, or the order of operations, we do exponents first and then multiplication. So just bring it down, and then we have -6 squared is -6 times -6 becomes positive 36. And then in here, it's negative times negative becomes positive. 12 times 6, well, 6 times 2 is 12 and carry 1. 6 times 1 is 6 and 1 is 7. Bring down -36. In this case, we have two negatives, so those are the ones that we're going to combine first. -36 and -36 is -72. Bring down the plus 72. When we have a negative and a positive of the same number, then they cancel each other, and then your answer will be 0. So y is 0 for my vertex. After I find the vertex, I'm going to choose two numbers to either side. Remember, we have 0 somewhere in here, then we have -6. Next to that is -5 and -4. And on the other side, we have -7 and -8. Those are the numbers that we want to use, okay? So I'm going to put -5. Whatever is to the right, I'm going to put over here. And if you decide to switch them, that's okay, as long as you use those 2 points and those 2 points, okay? -6, -7, and -8. So some people might put -7, -8 over here, and over here they would put -5 and -4. It will not make a difference on my graph. Now that we chose the values for x, we're going to replace each one on the x here, and find the answers. So y is equals to negative, open parentheses, -4 squared. Okay, I'm replacing this in the x, not the negative. The negative stays, it doesn't get replaced. Minus 12 times -4 minus 36. Again, we bring this down. We cannot multiply negative times negative, okay? It's first the exponent. So -4 times -4 is positive 16. And this is just from here. It's not because we're bringing this down here, okay? This is this one right here. Negative times negative is positive. 12 times 4 is 48. Bring down the -36. First, we add the negatives, so that's 40 and 12, so -52. And bring down the 48. -52 plus 48, different signs we subtract and leave the greater sign. It goes, same signs you add, different signs you subtract, and leave the greater sign. Okay, so these are different signs we subtract and leave the greater sign. So we get -4, so we put -4 here. Y equals, now let's do -5 minus -5 squared minus 12 times -5 again minus 36. Bring down this negative, raise that to the second power, which is positive 25. Negative times negative is positive. 12 times 5 is 60. Bring down the -36. Then combine the negatives. The 5 and the 6 in the ones place is -11. And then -20 and -30 is -50. So 50 and 11 is 61. Plus 60, y is equals to different signs. We subtract and leave the greater sign. 61 minus 60 is 1, but then the greater sign is negative. So negative 1. Again, just because it's symmetrical, then that means that these are going to be the same. This should be negative 4 and this should be negative 1. Okay? Now, negative 7. So y equals negative 7 squared minus 12 times negative 7 minus 36. Y equals, bring down this negative and raise this to the second power, including the negative. Negative 7 times negative 7 is 49. Negative times negative is positive. 7 times 12. 7 times 2 is 14. Carry 1. 7 times 1 is 7 and 1 is 8. Bring down the negative 36. Add these two negatives first. So to 50, I only need 1. I can bring it over. That's 50 plus 35 that I have left is 85. Negative 85. Okay, same signs we add and keep the greater sign. Bring down the 84. Since we have different signs, we're going to subtract and leave the sign of the greater one. So 85 minus 84 is 1, and the greater number is the 85, which is negative. So this is negative 1. Notice how we have the same. Y equals negative from the formula, negative 8 squared minus 12 times negative 8 minus 36. Bring that negative down. Negative 8 times negative 8 is 64, positive 64. Negative times negative is positive. 8 times 2 is 16, carry 1. 8 times 1 is 8, and 1 is 9. And bring down the negative 36. Well, here we add. So 6 plus 4 is 10, carry 1. 6 plus 3 is 9, and 1 is 10. But it's negative, okay? Negative 100. Bring down positive 96. Different signs, we subtract and leave the greater sign. So it's going to be negative 100 minus 96 is 4. Notice how we got negative 4 in here. Now that we have our table, we are able to create our graph. Again, I analyze and look that I need mostly on X, I need mostly on the negative side. And then for Y, we also need negatives, okay? So that means I'm going to do something like this. That will be my origin right there. So for X, I need negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then for Y, I need up to negative 4. So negative 1, 2, 3, 4 at the most, okay? We label them. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, negative 7, negative 8. The first point is negative 4, negative 4. So negative 4, negative 4. Oops. Negative 5, negative 1. Negative 5, negative 1, somewhere around there. Negative 6, 0, which is our vertex. That's from where we open our two little hands, okay? So negative 6, 0. Negative 7, negative 1. Negative 7, negative 1 is right there. And negative 8, negative 4, negative 8, negative 4 is right there. Again, from our vertex, which is right here, we open our parabola. Notice how it is opening down because A is negative. Again, some things that you can analyze is that when Y is 0, this is going to be also my x-intercept. So it's right there. We also notice that my graph is opening this way. So we can see that my y-intercept will be at 0, -36. Okay, and so the graph, you can see that even though it doesn't touch, it's going in that direction. And so those are some of the things that we can analyze. The y-intercept that it will touch. And here we can't really see it, but you would see 0, -36, and it will be up there for the y-intercept. So for your assignment, you will be graphing some equations, but at the same time, you will be matching, and they're going to be mixed match, okay? The tables, the graphs, and the functions. But what you can do is just analyze the x-intercept on the table and your graph, but analyze the y-intercept for all three of them, okay? Even if this one doesn't touch the y-intercept, you can more or less figure out where it is going to be. With this, we end our lesson. If you can please support our channel by giving us a thumbs up, subscribing around here. This is the link to the entire unit, and here you can find the next lesson. Now you're able to do 3.5 and have fun.